Let's start with the why. Why are we seeing such a robust muni market at this moment?
So what's happening since last year is that issuers really have a high demand. Issuers as in school districts, airports, state governments, local governments have some pent-up needs that they need to improve their capital infrastructure. That could be a classroom, a bridge, it could be a road, any of those things that are funded by state and local governments. Since last year, we've seen record supply coming in, and this year we're on pace to potentially even beat that. Now, why? Is because for a few years, there was a lot of pandemic aid that was flowing through state and local governments' coffers. Now that aid is close to an end, and now they need to use the bond market more.
Yeah, good context there. I do want to ask about the role of macro forces. I mean, every asset class, it feels like, has been impacted by what's going on in trade policy, what's going on in the economy in some sense. What does that look like when it comes to the muni market specifically?
Yeah, so a lot of times the muni market is seen as a haven from some of the larger macro volatility that we see in other asset classes. But it has not been immune to that this year. In early April, for example, we saw a lot of volatility coming in because of questions about inflation, tariffs, and things like that. So while the muni market doesn't move on a daily basis compared to some of the other asset classes, it has been impacted. Questions about inflation certainly impact, for example, when you build a road, a school, a bridge, how much are those construction costs going to increase? And that's certainly a factor in how issuers, park districts, school districts, schools, towns, states think about when and how much to issue.
You mentioned schools. Let's talk about higher education. Let's talk specifically about colleges. And there's a lot to unpack there. But specifically, when it comes to colleges and universities raising cash, how much are they a factor in this record-breaking year we're seeing for munis?
Mm-hmm. Higher education is a major issuer in the muni market, and this year certainly you've seen elite schools as well as others coming to the market. There are a lot of different factors. As I mentioned, there's capital needs for higher education, but there's also questions about operating costs because we don't know yet what the education policy is going to be, and that could ripple through higher education all the way down to kindergarten.
Absolutely. And you are joining us from Chicago. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Illinois specifically.
Yeah, so Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday launched his re-election bid for a third term. So that was something that was speculated about for several weeks or months now. But one of the reasons that his campaign for a third term is also in the news and watched nationally is because there's speculation about whether he may be among the potential Democratic contenders for the White House in 2028.